Hey guys, this is Nate. Hope you guys are having a great week of training so far. If you're a middle distance runner focusing more on the 5K, today's video I want to talk on how to run a sub 20 5K. So sub 20 minutes for the 5 kilometer distance. You're talking about 6 minutes and 26 seconds per mile for 3.1 miles or 4 minutes flat per K for 5 kilometers. So it's a very competitive time. It's something that's definitely doable. Other athletes around the world do it. But what I really want to provide to you in this particular video is 5 specific strategies that you can use to run 19:59 or faster for the 5K distance. I think the first thing you really want to focus in is what I talk about on a lot of my other videos and on RunDreamAchieve.com is focus on quality over quantity. You don't really want to get caught up in worrying about how many kilometers a week or how many miles per week you're running. More volume doesn't always bring the best results. You're talking about trying to run an average of 6:26 per mile or 4 flat per K for 5 kilometers. So that's very high quality running. So you really want to focus on a combination of various types of training. We'll talk about that in this video, but just running easy, slow mileage every single week, you can still get great results by doing that. But you also want to train more specifically because you're trying to go after a specific time and a very competitive time. And I also want to state too that on RunDreamAchieve.com, I also have a sub 20 minute 5K training program that I've created. So you can go, if you go to RunDreamAchieve.com, click on training programs, you'll get a drop down with 5K training plans. Just click on that. On the website, I have between 4, 8, 12, and 16 week training programs that are built for athletes trying to break the sub 20 minute 5K. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of resources. I'll leave some of those below this video as well. Number 2 tip I wanted to share is to focus on running longer tempo runs. Okay, a lot of problems that a lot of athletes around the world, including myself when I was competing, have is not that we're lacking on motivation or that we don't have that willingness to get out the door and prepare, but it's simply that we haven't trained for long enough periods of time at high enough heart rates, at high enough anaerobic efforts to be able to sustain that pace over the entire duration of our race. Now the 5K is more of an anaerobic event than an aerobic event, more like the marathon, the half marathon, even the 10K is more of an aerobic event. The 5K is over very, very fast. It's only 3.1 miles, 5 kilometers. So you want to really get yourself hardened, get yourself mentally ready and physically fit and physically prepared to be able to sustain longer periods of time training at your anaerobic threshold. Okay, so your anaerobic threshold is about between 88 and 92% of your maximum heart rate. So when I was in college, Jack Hazen, who's one of the world's top distance running coaches, was my collegiate coach. He would always have us focusing mainly on running at our anaerobic threshold between 167 beats per minute to 172 beats per minute wearing a heart rate monitor. That's another tip I want to share with you. If you have not tried wearing heart rate monitors or using them, I highly recommend focusing on heart rate monitor training. It will keep you from overtraining on those days where you think you're running easy, but you're really still running too hard. I'll leave a few of my top recommendations for heart rate monitors below this video as well. Some of the ones that I've used over the years and the most current ones too that I think are really, really important to get athletes to that next level. So you want to focus on doing longer tempo runs. Okay, it's not going to be easy early on. You're already established if you're trying to go after a sub 20 minute 5K already. So the first, if you're focusing on a 12-week block of training, which I have that on RunDreamAchieve.com, you want to focusing on 3-week blocks of efforts. So if it's a 12-week, 3 weeks, I want you doing the first 3 weeks between 2 and 3 mile tempo runs, running between 167 beats to 172 beats per minute for that particular run, and do that for 3 weeks. Okay, and the reason why I say 3 weeks is because it takes approximately 21 days for your body to physiologically adapt to any stress you're throwing at it. So this is the same thing we did when I was at Malone University under Coach Hazen. We would do our mile repeats, and we would start our season doing our mile repeats at 85% of our best mile time. So my best mile time is 4:22. So I would start around 5:05, 5:06 per rep, and we would do 6 1-mile repetitions for 3 weeks. Each week we would do that workout, and then after the third week, when we started our fourth week, we would go from 85% of our maximum time for the mile and move it to 88%, and then we would do it for 3 weeks there. So this is kind of the focus I want you guys to think about. Always think about progression. You're not just going to jump into running fast in any event. It just doesn't work that way, and you guys already know that. But if you focus on long-term thinking and focus on progression, know that your body's going to adapt physiologically to what you're throwing at it. The body will always adapt, but it's hard for us because we become impatient. So if you're focusing on a 12-week blocker training, I want you doing between more like 3-mile tempo, a 3-mile tempo for 3 weeks, then move it to 6 miles between. If you're having a difficult time the 4th week doing 6 miles, try doing between 4 and 5. But I really want you focusing on trying to extend it out the 6 miles, because you're doubling the distance of your 5K and you're running at anaerobic threshold effort. So it's not quite race pace. It's approximately 15 seconds to 20 seconds slower than your race pace, but running for 6 miles, doubling the distance of your 5K, the distance that you're going to race at for 5K, is going to make you very, very strong. It's going to make you very efficient, and you're going to be able to toe the line and know that, hey, I've done my tempo runs out to 6 miles. What is a 3-mile race? After I've tapered down and I have competition around me. So I hope that makes sense. I really think that's very, very critical psychologically as well, because you know you've run much further than your race distance. So I really think that's a key tip to getting you under sub 20, especially if you're close. Maybe you're 21 minutes, maybe you're a 23-minute 5K athlete right now, and you're trying to get to 19:59. Focus on extending the amount of time you're training at your anaerobic threshold. Next tip, jog on your easy days. I cannot stress this enough. Don't worry about what pace you guys are running at on your recovery days. Some of the best distance runners I've trained with over the years, Olympians, literally jogged. I'm talking 9 to 10 minute mile pace. And these are guys that could run 450 pace, the 445 to 450 pace for the marathon. Okay, so if those guys can run that quick for the marathon distance, but they can chill out and relax and go slow on the recovery days, so can you and I. You're going to get some great results if you slow down on your recovery days, because your hard days, like doing these tempo runs and doing the track sessions where you're doing like repeat miles, you're trying to run 6:26 per mile or 4 flat per K. So you need to be out to be able to get on the track and do between 5 and 6 1-mile repetitions around 6:35 to 6:45 per rep, around that range, 6:35 to 6:50 per rep, with between a 2 and 3 minute recovery in between each repetition. You want to be able to get very efficient at, like I said, dealing with lactic acid, running at faster paces, and over time, if we focus on progression and we focus on that adaptation that I talk about, your body's going to be able to become very, very efficient at clearing lactic acid at race pace. And the athletes that you're up against that have not done their homework and have not practiced enough for long enough periods of time, training at their anaerobic threshold, but also chilling out and running slow enough on the recovery days so they can get the most bang for their buck on those, after those hard days. Those type of athletes are going to really do well. If the athletes that are training like this, that slow down, allow time to recover and rest, are going to get the best results. You're going to be able to react to the moves that your competition is throwing at you. And you're going to be able to really sustain pace. You're going to teach your body to burn fat at race pace and conserve carbohydrate. And in the 5K, you need that carbohydrate. And you're really going to be drawing on more, practically all carbs in such a short race like the 5K. It'd be different if you're training for the marathon or the half marathon or 10K. 5K is very quick, it's very short, but still, you still want to be able to teach your body to clear lactic acid and handle that lactic acid buildup. And you do that by running longer periods of time at more uncomfortable paces and extending your duration of effort. So focus on that. Next tip I want to share with you guys, if you want to get under sub 20, in terms of how to run a sub 25K, focus on a 10-day taper rather than a 3-week taper. Okay, this is gold nuggets right now. I'm telling you, every time I did a 10-day taper, I always PR'd. Every time I tried doing, and it doesn't always, we're all different, okay? So I'm not saying that doing a 10-day taper is going to guarantee you a 5K. I can't guarantee you a sub 25K. Regardless of what I share on these videos, I can definitely point you in the right direction and provide insight. But it will definitely increase your chances of feeling less lethargic and less fatigued going into a 5K race if you do a 10-day taper rather than a 3-week taper. So definitely do that. I have that also in all of my training programs and all of my running courses on RunDreamAchieve.com. I have a 10-day taper rather than a 3-week taper. Last tip I want to share with you is the long run. You want to mix up pace. You don't want to just focus on running long, slow, and easy every single weekend. Always go back to all my other videos as well. I talk on this topic as well. So in terms of the long run, I really want you guys to focus on not just running every single weekend long, slow, and easy, okay? I still want you guys to still focus on doing those long runs, but just don't do it every single weekend. If you're doing a 12-week block of training, this is how all of my training programs and all my running courses are set up. I try to focus on gradual increasing of the pace of my athletes that are following these programs, where you're training at closer to about 85% of your maximum heart rate once you get very, very fit. So early on, you want to focus on just building base mileage and building and doing those longer, slow, easy runs the first 3 to 5 weeks. But as you move into week 6 and leading into all the way to week 12, as we lead into that 10-day taper I talk about, I also think it's very, very important to start spending a longer period of time during your long run at a higher heart rate. So again, you're running more. You're going to become more efficient at running the 5K in under 20 minutes because you're spending such a long period of time doing, for one, branching out your long run out to, like, say 10 miles or 12 miles. Early on, when you're not very fit, your long run might be 5 miles or 6 miles, and you want to gradually extend it out. But also at the same time, you want to also spend longer periods of time during those long runs training at closer to about 85% of your maximum heart rate. And again, it's uncomfortable, but as you get fitter and fitter, you're able to do that. That's why it's very, very critical to run and to jog on your recovery days, because you want to be able to bounce back from all these really difficult workouts that go into running a sub 20-minute 5K. So I hope this video has been helpful for you guys. If you have any questions whatsoever, leave me a comment below. Let me know in the comment section too where you're currently at in the 5K distance and what has been the biggest problem for you in trying to break the 20-minute 5K. If it's another barrier that you've been shooting for, maybe 25 minutes, maybe 18 minutes, share that with me. Let me know what's on your mind in regards to that. I really want to know what has been giving you guys the biggest issues so that I can create another video and talk more on your specific pain points. I really think that's important. So hope you guys have a great evening, great morning, great afternoon, wherever you guys are in the world, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.